Welcome to the special edition of Neurology News Network. I'm Marco Meglio. First up, after an unblinded interim efficacy and futility analysis of fosgonimeton proved to be positive, an independent data monitoring committee recommended the continuation of the agent into the Phase 3 LIFT-AD study of patients with mild to moderate Alzheimer's disease. Athira Pharma, the developer of fosgonimeton, noted that it is targeting to complete enrollment in mid-2023 with a top-line data readout early 2024. The unblinded interim analysis, which featured 100 individuals not on background ACH-EI therapy, was conducted to corroborate observations from the pivotal Phase 2 ACT-AD study and ensure that LIFT-AD is powered to determine the clinical efficacy of fosgonimeton. Given the preliminary effect size observed, it was determined that a total enrollment of less than 300 patients without background therapy would suffice to power the primary endpoint of global statistical test. Fosgonimeton, a small molecule HGF and MET enhancer, originally failed to meet its primary or secondary endpoints in the Phase 2 ACT-AD study when used with standard of care ACH-EIs. Next up, findings from the secondary analysis of the Rescue Japan Limit study showed that endovascular therapy was not associated with improvement in functional outcomes at 90 days in patients with post-stroke with Alberta Stroke Program early computed tomography scores or aspects of 3 or less, and was associated with a significantly higher incidence of intracranial hemorrhage within 48 hours. Of patients with aspects scores 3 or less, 21.4% of those in the EVT group and 18% of those who did not receive EVT had a modified Rankin scale or MRS score of 0 to 3 considered good functional outcome. In comparison, for those with aspect scores of 4 to 5, 43.2% of patients on EVT and 7.7% of those without EVT achieved similar scores at 90 days. The original findings from Rescue Japan Limit suggested efficacy of EVT in patients with large ischemic core or aspect score of 3 to 5. However, there was a difference in disease severity in patients within that score range, and thus the goal of this new assessment was to understand the threshold of when EVT stops being beneficial. Lastly, after originally scheduling a PDUFA date of January 25, 2023, the FDA announced it has extended its review period for Biogen's investigational agent tofersen, a drug designed to treat patients with SOD1 mutation-mediated amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, or ALS. The new updated PDUFA date is April 25, 2023. There are no currently approved therapies for patients with SOD1 mutation and only a handful of approved therapies for ALS in general. Tofersen, an antisense oligonucleotide, had its new drug application accepted in July 2022 with data from a Phase 1 study of healthy volunteers, a Phase 1/2 study of ascending doses, and a pivotal Phase 3 Valor study along with its open-label extension serving as the basis for the NDA. Valor, a large-scale study that included 108 patients with SOD1 ALS, showcased tofersen's impact on neurofilament light and SOD1 protein. Although it failed to meet its primary endpoint of statistical significant change from baseline in functional ALS revised scale after 28 weeks of treatment, it continued to demonstrate positive effects across multiple secondary and exploratory endpoints that were observed over a 12-month treatment period. For more direct access to expert insight, head to neurologylive.com. This has been Neurology News Network. Thanks for watching.